Your house is worth whatever it's worth, right? Whoever sells it. Wrong. I'm Charlie. Welcome to Moving Home with Charlie, and thank you for coming.
Charlie Landing grew up in Sussex, is the founder of Best Agent and presenter of Moving Home with Charlie.
If you want to find one of these guys, look out for those compassionate professionals. All estate agents are not the same.
So Charlie, what would be your advice for people interested in buying new builds right now?
Don't overpay. Do buy, but don't overpay. That's why I say disregard the guff. Read into the numbers and look, and it's buried. The bad news is buried in the small print, okay?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Property Press Awards.
They may or may not be telling the truth, but you should form your own view. Get out and view, get out and view, get out and view. You cannot be in a position to make offers and have the offers accepted if you're not viewing. Just be out there viewing. Pay attention to the back of the class. If you've not been watching my videos, I did one just a couple of days ago. Disregard the guff, guys. Good evening. Sorry, technical glitch. That's actually not true. It was a human glitch. I thought there was a technical glitch and I cancelled it, and it was actually my mistake and there was nothing wrong. So apologies to anyone. And welcome. It's Sunday evening. It's the 26th of March. And I have been getting a lot of questions from buyers along the lines of what's on the screen there, down there, right? Which is, Charlie, look, I'm waiting for prices to fall, and I want to believe they're going to fall, and I think they're going to fall, but what if they don't? What if they go up? And I just realized I haven't got my microphone on. Guys, can you hear me okay? Sorry, can everyone hear me all right? Hi, guys, Noon, Mark, Cosima, David, Kevin, Gavin, Craig, Catherine, Glenn. Could you all just let me know if you can hear me okay? Cool. Right, I haven't got my usual mic, so apologies if the sound quality is not great. And for those of you who don't want to listen to the full explanation of my answer to this question, I'll get to the punchline straight away. So there is more explanation for this, but I'm going to get to the punchline straight away, because the risk is this: if you are waiting for prices to fall before you buy, and for some unexpected reason they don't, and before you've managed to find a home and buy it, prices have gone back up again and you find you've missed the market, then you would regret not buying now if you were in a position to do so. However, having said that, if you do buy now and we haven't yet seen the steepest price falls yet to come, you might similarly regret doing that as well by overpaying when the market's about to fall a long way down. And for the purposes of this video, let's assume that nobody knows what's going to happen. We don't know if they're going to go up. We don't know if they're going to go down, because I can see the very real fear that some people have of missing the market if it goes back up. I'll just be very clear, right? As far as I'm concerned, the price falls haven't even got started or warmed up yet. There's a long way to go. Nationally average. Now, all of you aren't buying nationally, are you? You aren't buying a national average home at a national average price. You've all got a potential home, or your eye on a potential home in a potential location that's got its own unique, specific market, on which I cannot advise you or give you any opinion whatsoever, because I don't do regional predictions. So how do you work out for yourself if the market where you want to buy is going to keep falling further, or it's going to flatline, or the falls have finished and it's going to go up, or maybe they haven't fallen at all and they're still going up right now, and you've waited and you're worried because they're still rising? How do you make that decision for yourself? It's a very good question. But let me get the punchline out of the way straight away, and then I'll elaborate. So those of you who want to go back to your proper Sunday night telly can go back to it. This is the same technique I use for any dilemma I face in life, where I just can't work out what to do, because if either one is the wrong decision, it's going to be terrible. Well, I could buy, but then prices might fall and I wish I hadn't, or I might not buy and then prices might go up and I wish I had. The answer to this question is unique to each of you, and this is how I solve that problem, and it's how I recommend anyone who has a very clear dilemma. Do we do this or do we not do this? Do we do A or do we do B? I'm assuming you haven't got option C, D, or E, but you've got A or B. And you might want to write this down or replay it, but the question you need to ask yourself is this: which decision, if it turned out to be a mistake, would I regret more? Right? Let that sink in. Which decision, if it turned out to be the wrong one, would I regret more? And normally when you answer that question, the answer of what you need to do becomes very clear very quickly. So let me spell it out a little bit, one step further. Would I regret buying and wishing I hadn't more? Or would I regret not buying and wishing I had more? So there's no right or wrong to this. This is a personal decision that nobody can make except for you. And what I want to do is to try and give you as much information to help you come to that decision yourself as possible. Okay. And let me say right now, the information I put out on this channel is designed to give you pointers, guidelines, and food for thought for you to make up your own mind. I sincerely hope that no one is only using my channel to make the decisions on. That is, that wouldn't be wise. Whilst I am at the moment very confident of my expectations, especially after the last video with Alex explaining why we think house price falls are a mathematical certainty on average nationally. Sometimes there are surprises. Sometimes there are shocks. Sometimes the government does things no one expects. And I've always said, if there's massive unexpected intervention, but the first thing I'd say is this: you don't need to rush this decision, because whatever happens in the news today doesn't affect house prices for at least 6 months. All right. That's why when house prices actually peaked and started falling, no one saw that was happening for at least 6 months. That's why I was trying to let people know that that's what was happening before it came out in the mainstream news. But so just put into one side whether house prices are going to fall or not. You've got to make up your own mind what you think is going to happen in the market where you want to buy, which isn't easy. And by the way, spoiler alert, the best way to do that is to be out viewing properties. Okay, if you're not out viewing properties, you will not know what's happening in the market where you want to buy, and you are behind the curve. You are at least 1 month, if not 2 or 3 months behind the curve of buyers who are actually out viewing. And remember, viewing does not obligate you to buy. It doesn't obligate you to offer. As long as your viewing is with a sincere intention of looking for a home because you do want to buy one, then you're not wasting anybody's time. But if you're sitting here thinking about buying and you haven't been out and viewed anything yet, well, you're not even ready. If you're not ready to be out, you don't need to think about committing to buying in order to start viewing. You just need to start viewing. Okay. And I've said it again, and I'll keep on saying it. If any of you are sending me questions going, should I buy or not should I buy, and you haven't been out there viewing, I'd say, well, the first thing to do is get out viewing. Because without knowing what's happening in your marketplace, you can't answer your own question. And I certainly can't answer it for you. All right. So let's just take a made-up scenario that I'm plucking off the top of my head here. Okay. Let's say that there's a first-time buyer. Let's say they've got a 10% deposit. Let's say they're in a position, they think, let's just say it's you. Okay. Let's say you're in a position. And by the way, sorry, guys, I want to just share something with you here. Because this is what makes it relevant to you, and so you know how many of you are in which situation. Right, so I did a survey of my YouTube channel to see what situation most people are in. 32% of you are actively viewing first-time buyers. Congratulations, well done to be that you're actively viewing. You will be better informed than any buyers who are still sitting at home on their computer, hoping they're going to work out what's happening in their local market, because they won't. They'll be behind the curve. First-time seller, 9%, also whether buying or not. So some of those first-time sellers may also be buyers. And sold home, now renting, waiting to buy. So at least 63% of you are either first-time buyers or second-time buyers waiting to buy. Okay, so almost 2/3 of you are in the situation where you're wondering when to buy, or possibly whether to buy or not. All right. So I'm jumping around a bit here. Let's take a scenario: 10% deposit, and you feel like maybe you're out there viewing, and you have found properties that you think might actually accept offers that you could make, and therefore you believe that some of the properties you're looking at might be affordable to you, but you're nervous, as quite rightly, because you are worried about negative equity and you're worried about buying before prices fall or buying when prices are falling. And you're also worried because the agents are telling you, no, the market's fine. If you don't buy this, someone else is going to buy it. You're going to miss it. You're going to wish you bought it. And there are local markets where that may well be the truth. Okay. So you shouldn't automatically dismiss what an agent's telling you as guff. Most of them are spewing out guff, but not all of them. And it would be a mistake to disregard one estate agent's market observations as guff when actually they might be one of the truthful ones. I mean, we are only talking about 10 to 15% who will really be brutally honest and truthful with what's happening. But the point is, you can't take advice from someone that's trying to sell you something. You've got to figure it out for yourself. So, do you buy or don't you buy? Well, you've got to walk yourself through both scenarios and work out which one you could live with. So let's option one, you go ahead and buy. You negotiate a price that you believe is the best price. You're able to negotiate for that property, and you proceed and you purchase and you get to move into your new home. And once you've moved into your new home, you then see prices falling. But in this scenario, you're a buyer who doesn't need to move for at least 5 years. You've got good job security. And even though the market has now fallen below the price of your property, you're living in a home that you own. You are not at risk of a landlord saying you need to get out. And provided you keep up your mortgage repayments, you're at no risk of losing your home. And so you've got some stability, which is a luxury and peace of mind that your home is yours to stay in and nobody can kick you out, provided you keep up your mortgage repayments. But the market's fallen away. Well, that you might say to yourself, that's a scenario you can handle. But what if you lose your job? And what if you ended up in negative equity? And what if you ended up being unable to make your mortgage repayments? What would you do? Would you move out and rent it out just to keep the mortgage payments made in the meantime? Or would you try and sell it but end up negative equity? Only you know whether that's a scenario that you're prepared to risk, because perhaps you're working in a sector where your job security isn't fantastic. So, you're rolling the dice. Some people are much, much happier rolling the dice and going with the flow and seeing what life happens than others. Some people cannot bear that uncertainty. That is why I can never, ever answer this question for anybody. I can only help you figure out all of the considerations for yourself so you come to your own decision, right? So, let's just say the worst case scenario for this buyer is they do go ahead and buy, they end up in negative equity, they have their whole home repossessed, and that's a scenario that they cannot consider. That's a scenario that's just not within their sphere of ability to cope with. And the other option is they don't buy, they miss the market. So option two, we're now switching to option two, which is they decide they miss the market because they decided not to buy and prices go up again. Now, again, that's a different scenario for everybody if that happens. Because for some people, it'll mean that's it. You've missed your chance. You've totally missed your chance, and there's no chance getting back into the market. Because now the prices have gone out of reach. You can't save fast enough. Interest rates are high, etc. And Charlie was wrong. Prices didn't fall 35%, and you hate him because he was wrong, and you only waited because he said so. So don't base decisions on what I'm saying. You must do your own research, because prices will not fall 35% in each place. It'll be varied everywhere, and you've got to work out what it is. Can you, as an individual, accept the risk of waiting, and then the market where you're trying to buy actually does go up? Can you afford it if that happens? If you saw that happen, would you be able to jump in at the last minute and go, okay, right, we've caught it just in time? Or would it be too late, and would it actually mean that you wouldn't be able to own a home at all? And of course, the answer to all these questions is different for every single person. This is why moving home is so stressful. It's why you can't rely on newspaper articles to tell you what the answer is. And it's why I do this channel, because I'm hoping that I'm going to give you food for thought that you won't get anywhere else without telling you what to do one way or the other. And for the record, I'm not telling anyone to wait or telling anyone to buy. I'm saying buy now if you can, and as long as you don't overpay, because being in a home is great. But if you're comfortable and don't need to buy now and are happy to wait, then I think prices are going to come down. And, It depends on your personal circumstances. So, which would be the biggest mistake? Buying and wishing you hadn't, or not buying and wishing you had? No one can answer that except for you. And you need to give that question some serious thought, like at least 24 hours of thought, okay? Because what you've got to say to yourself is, which of those two options would be the mistake that we could live with? And that's your decision, right? If buying and the market falls anyway is a decision that you can live with, then you should buy now, right? But if buying and the market falls away and you get trapped in negative equity and lose your home is something you can't live with, then you shouldn't buy now. I mean, okay, this is too simplistic. It depends on the price that you get, depends on your deposit, it depends on job security, all those things, right? Or let's look at the other one. You don't buy and you wish you had. Could you live with that? Well, you just go, oh, I'm just going to rent, or maybe I'm going to move to another country and buy there, or I don't know what your decisions might be, okay? But if the thought of not buying and missing the market is too awful for you to bear, and you're in a position to buy now, then the answer is simple. You buy now. So I wish everyone would understand, right? There is no right general answer. There just isn't. And the most common mistake home buyers make, is missing out on a home because they tried to save a few thousand quid. And no matter how many times I saw that sorry tale, people keep on making the mistake. They hear it and they go make the mistake anyway. It's a bizarre human behavior phenomenon I will never understand. Is that you warn someone something, you say, don't make this mistake, don't miss out on your dream home for the sake of a few thousand quid saving. And then that's exactly what they do. Well, we offered 95. And then someone else got it for 100 and we would have paid 100. Right, then you didn't listen, did you? You should have paid 100 at the start and you'd have got it. Do not risk missing out on a home you want to live in by paying less than you can afford to pay if someone else is also offering. Guys, I know. It must be really frustrating because it must be like, but Charlie, wait, you just said this and now you're saying that and now you're saying this, but it's that. Oh, I don't know how to secure my job. What's the price? What are interest rates going to do? I don't know any of these things. No one knows any of these things for certain. And especially no one knows what they are in each regional location. And that is why only you can decide. You need to be out viewing. If you're not out viewing, you're not even ready to decide. Right? You cannot decide. You cannot make this decision whether to buy or not if you don't actually have the option to buy something, right? If your decision is, should I be viewing now or not? If you want to buy somewhere, then yes, of course you should be viewing. Even if you think prices are falling, you should be viewing now. Right. The hardest part is forming your view on local prices. And that is, again, the only solution to that, to be out. And remember as well, there are 3 different dimensions to house prices. There's location, exact location, geography, even within a town. Which part of town is it? There's what type of property you're looking to buy. Is it a flat, or is it a semi, or is it a house? And there's what level of the market are you at? Okay, so if you're looking at flats, but you're looking at penthouse flats, well, that's a very different market to starter 1-bedroom flats. If you're looking at detached houses, well, you could be looking at detached houses that are small, modest detached houses, or you could be looking at big, fat, huge country piles. Again, depends which part of the market you're looking at. And you've got to figure this out for yourself. By the way, guys, I am going to be doing soon, I don't know exactly when, but within the next few days, I'll be doing another private buyers live stream, a live Q&A where I answer every single buyer's question in that live stream on the buymeacoffee.com/MHWC membership. You'll see it. There are still some places left. And if any of you haven't heard about that, there is a link. It's not below this video yet, but I'll put it below after the video. So if there are buyers watching this now who are members of that private group and you've got questions on this topic, then we can have that discussion in the private live Q&A. And you can ask me your individual questions and I can answer them, and I will try to answer all of them as best I can. Now, does anyone have any questions on this topic? There's so many moving parts in this decision, so many moving parts. But do remember this, guys. whatever is happening, it happens slowly. It happens with a real time lag on it. All right, you don't need to panic and hurry. If you're thinking about buying, selling might be a different story. If you need to sell, but right, guys, do we have questions? Anyone got questions they want to have answered? A couple of quick questions. No, you're all chatting with each other, but I can't see the questions. Here we are. Andrea Conroy says, we're buying cash in the next couple of months, actively viewing now and believe that a house is only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. Yeah, I mean, you can't argue against that statement that the house is worth what someone's willing to pay for it, but that's not necessarily helpful in working out what to pay, is it? I think you're right. You know, if you're the only offer and your offer is there, then you're the person that's willing to pay it and then no one else is, then that's what it's worth at that point. That's the market for that property. Any other questions, guys? How long does it take? Heather Kim asks, how long does it take my mortgage advisor to get in touch after sending an inquiry? They're normally within 24 hours. If that's not been your experience, I'm sorry, and I'll chase them up. Yeah, normally they're straight on it. I mean, maybe not over the weekend, but typically that's. And guys, if any of you don't have your mortgage in principle, which is what you need, this is the address on screen now, where you can go and get your talk to my hand-picked whole of market independent mortgage brokers. And in these really swirling, uncertain times, more important than ever to have access to the whole of the market to make sure you get the best possible mortgage deal for you. Nemeo Rivadeo says, how do we actually respond to agents, Guff? All together now? You disregard it. Literally. Don't even need to acknowledge it. Just disregard it. That's why I use the word disregard. It's important. You just hear it, disregard it. You don't react to it. You just change the subject. Just talk about something else. So here's a question, a classic question I get asked a lot, which I can't answer. What are you hearing about the London market? Is it better or worse than average? Well, there are regional price reports in the Land Registry's most recent stuff about London and South East. But again, the London market for what? The London market for small flats or penthouse flats? The London market for houses or the London market for outer London or inner London or central London? Do you see what I'm saying? It's impossible. That's an impossible question to answer. The London market is so big and varied and enormous that there is no single London market. The only generalization I could possibly make about the market is that the south of England seems to be having faster price falls than the north of England. There are parts in the north of England where prices haven't even started falling yet. I do think that they will. Nemea, okay, yeah. Nemea says, I feel rude disregarding someone's guff. I get what you're saying, but you can just simply sort of raise your eyebrows and go, okay. Anyway, you can just say, that's not my view. It's okay to say that. You can just say, I don't share that view. Or if you think they're providing guff, then you can say, have you got any research to back up that point of view? That's something else. If you don't feel able to just disregard it and you feel compelled to answer, and they're giving you lots of guff, ask them to say, look, this is a really important decision for us because so if that's what you really mean, Mr. Agent, and if your guff is sincere guff, can you please, I don't use those words obviously, but where do you get the information that makes you think that? And if he just says to you, trust me, then that's obviously not good enough. But this it's just so British, this thing about, because we're here in person with someone, we just have to be polite and agree with what they say. That's how you end up overpaying when you do that. I mean, never be rude to anybody. But you can just go, I don't have the same view if you think they're giving you guff. Or go well armed with your own research about whatever the guff is and say, this is what I think is happening. But you've got to be out viewing to really know what's happening. Yeah, there are a few specific markets I know, but there's no point going into them here. Claire M says, I'm a first-time buyer in my 40s. My fear is I leave it too long and I won't even be offered a mortgage. Claire, my question to that would be, have you spoken to a mortgage broker about that? Because if you're fearing it, you're just fearing the unknown, because you don't know whether that's true or not, do you? Your mortgage broker will tell you if that's something to worry about or not. I don't think it is, but talk to mortgage brokers, guys. Also, you can talk to a mortgage broker a long time before you actually go out and buy. They are used to people contacting them who aren't planning to buy for another 6 months. You don't need to wait until you're ready to pull the trigger. In fact, it'll massively inform your purchase and your decision if you do find out where you stand from a mortgage point of view sooner rather than later. I know, guys, there are places that I hear of pockets of places all over the country where prices are still going crazy. But overall, it is just national average, but the land registry is confirming prices are falling. The problem is this: if you're trying to buy a rare and desirable home, they will always sell quickly. If you're in a very desirable area where very little ever comes up for sale, those properties are likely to hold their value for longer because there is just a queue of buyers waiting for them in those areas. But there are so many different kinds of areas. Quiet One says, when you were a young lad, Charlie. What do you mean when I was a young lad? Fair enough. I'm no longer a young lad. I am 50. It was in there. I think it was in their 20s when I were a young lad. When I were a young lad, you'd buy a house on your 18th birthday. I wish. Sorry for my terrible northern accent. Chaz Percival asks, what are my views on Part X for new builds? Are there any? I mean, as long as the numbers stack up, that can be very cool. A part exchange for a new build means that you haven't got the usual worry about selling and buying simultaneously and it not working out. It's quite good. But typically speaking, a bit like part exchanging a car, you're always going to get less for the house when you part exchange it, or they make you think that you've got more, but you've paid more for the car, don't you? So it's the same thing. Just be really, really careful on the price. Yeah, Joey Brown says, I'm 49, got a decision in principle, you'll be fine. I assume you're talking to Claire M. Just looking here for more questions, guys. Sorry. Yes, we will be resuming and getting Tipsy Stig back up at some point. That was good fun. That was great fun. Good evening, Regina. Do I have any more questions here that I've missed? Is it good or common to speak multiple mortgage brokers, being upfront with them that you're talking to others? I mean, having an initial conversation with different ones until you find one you like is okay. But before you start expecting them to do work for you, I would be trying to choose one. This is again why, a good independent mortgage broker, if you are a prime candidate for a high street bank and going straight to them, will probably tell you that. But what I wouldn't be doing is talking to multiple brokers at the same time. If you've got a whole of market broker and you like talking to them and they sound good and they're not giving you any guff, then no, you don't need to talk to multiple brokers. But if you don't get a good feel from the people you're talking to, then yeah, I'd shop around. Yes, that was a terrible Yorkshire accent. I'm sorry, Claire, you're quite right. Leo Lease says, how do you determine which mortgage broker to use? Is it better to be a recommended one? That's a good question. I mean, there is, as with any profession, there is a spectrum of great to terrible ones, right? And in mortgage broking, the terrible ones are the ones that will sell you whatever they can sell you to maximize their commission, and they don't care if it leaves you unable to afford stuff. They will sell you everything, bang, 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 and the advice they will give you will be based on what pays them the best commission. This is a hypothetical example of the worst mortgage broker. And sometimes they sound great on the phone, they sound really charming and really professional, and they suck you in. And then on the other end, you have the guys who actually like to sleep at night and therefore don't like to oversell products to people that don't need them just to make commission and actually care about their customers. These are the people, this is why I've chosen the guys that I've chosen. And in fact, I must get them on here again soon to do another live mortgage Q&A with them, so you can ask all your mortgage questions to them, because it's been a while since I've done that with them, and things have changed. But I mean, recommendations are good depending on who they come from. But that's why I recommend these guys. So try out my guys, mhwc.co.uk/mortgage, if you don't yet have one that you trust, because I do trust these guys. And if anything ever happens and they break that trust, I will change and I will stop using them. And they know that. I've spent time with them, and I've been working with them now for quite a few months. And with the exception of letting a couple of leads slip through the net, and I've had to chase them up on those, all the feedback has been fantastic on them so far. And I still keep asking people to give me any, if you've had negative feedback on them, please let me know. I'd like to know that. Do we have any more questions? James Sweeney asks, how long will it take to recover after a 35% fall in house prices, in your opinion? Okay. That's a very big question. And I do not profess to know what's going to happen 3, 4, 5 years out. And I don't have a strong opinion on this. But when you just look at the numbers and keep an open mind, there is an argument out there, which to me is so far the most compelling one, that they will not bounce back like they have before. And we're going to go into a prolonged period of house price stagnation after the falls. So if you're talking about in nominal terms, in recent times, so just waiting for the prices to get back up to what the prices were before, so not adjusted for inflation, it was, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years. In real terms, you're talking a lot longer than that, like 10 years before, when you adjust for inflation, the prices got back up to the same value they were before the crash. Anne Hare asks, we're looking to retire to Northumberland early 2024. Should we sell now and then be cash buyers? When we buy, as we can stay with family for a while? And that's a great question. I actually did a video on exactly this, about selling and buying, or selling then buying. And I would point you to that video. If you do have, in my personal opinion, if you do have a place to go in the interim, then getting a sale achieved is much quicker when you have no onward chain as a seller. You're more likely to get a buyer and a better sale at a better price sooner. And you're then an unencumbered cash buyer for your next purchase. And again, you're in a stronger position to buy if that's the case. So in the scenario where you can stay with family for a while, that is what I would do. But go and check out that video. I think it's called Sell Then Buy. Sell and Buy, or Sell Then Buy is, I think, the title of the video. Empty Space says, I don't believe prices will recover in my lifetime, and I'm 43. Well, that's one of the people with that view. Andy A, you keep starting to type a comment, and then it sounds like you're trying to challenge me on this. No, Andy A, I don't predict a real price fall 35%. I'm predicting a nominal 35%. Real will be bigger, depending on how long it takes, of course. But the real price fall will be greater than 35%. And I'm not sure if Andy's trying to make this point or not, because he's started typing a couple of messages that haven't come through. But okay, no, Andy, sorry, it's not a real price prediction. My nominal prediction is 35%. My real price is further than that. So I hope that clears that up. And yes, Chaz Percival asks, how would a 35% house price crash affect UK banks? Do they hold housing as a non-liquid asset? It certainly isn't good for them. And on that point, guys, there is an article which I will share with you. In fact, I'll put the link in the comments right here on the live, about the US banking system crisis being far worse than the media is letting on. So Stanford University has done an article on the US banking system, and if it's to be believed, then it's going to be much worse coming down the pike, which of course will then wash out to other banks. And it explains how the sort of cascading effect, and once it starts, it keeps going. And that's why the mainstream media is so going to such great lengths to try and say everything's safe, banking safe, banking safe, banking safe, because banking remains safe when people don't start trying to take their money out. But if people do start trying to take their money out, then banking gets less safe. And as far as their capitalization is concerned goes, that article I just shared a link with basically talks about the fact that the US bank's capitalization is currently 2 trillion too high and hasn't been updated and adjusted correctly. It hasn't been marked to market. And there is a big time delay in these things, Chaz, but eventually the banks do have to mark down their assets according to house prices, but that takes a long time, and they can cover it up and drag it out for a long time before they have to do that. Okay, Abs Sa, I can't tell if this is a wind-up question or not, because if you've only just joined, then maybe they'll explain. Abs, if you've just joined, you need to rewind and start from the beginning, because this whole video is about exactly that. So my advice on whether to buy a new house now or wait is to rewind this video and watch it from the beginning, and it will answer your question. Bosch 75 says, no, that's the wrong one. Sorry, that's Poker Face. It's Joe Brown. Hold on. Where are you? There you are. Do you think offering 2019 prices plus 8% is fair? That's asking me to give an incredibly generalized answer. First of all, house prices today and tomorrow are utterly unrelated to what they were in 2019 or 18 or 16 or 12 or 2000 or last year. I've never understood this comparing with house prices from the past. I've never understood the relevance of it. It has absolutely no bearing on what's. I mean, why 2019, Bosch? Like, that's such a random year. That's 4 years ago. Why 4 years ago? Why 4 years plus 8%? I mean, maybe it's fair. I don't know. Maybe it's not, because what you've all got to remember is it depends on the asking price of the property you're looking at, the region that you're in, what's happened in that area. So, as ever, there is no answer that's a general. Hey, generally do this. It just doesn't work ever. John Bennett says the banks are about to collapse. Bigger recession than 2008. Bad time to buy, in my opinion. Now, if you were only buying houses for an investment point of view, yeah, I would agree with John. If you're buying it as a home to live in and you don't want to move out for a while, you're buying a home to keep for 10 years or more, then I would disagree with John. As long as you don't overpay, you can afford to buy a house, get in the home. It's much better to be in a home than not. Tams in Stutterford, welcome, a new follower. Thank you very much to whichever friend of yours recommended me. So Jilly, can I ask you a question, Jilly? You're saying that you're worried about John's comment about banks collapsing in a bigger recession. If you were to buy now and you were planning to hold your property for a long time, why would a recession bother you? You've bought it, you can afford the mortgage to live in it. Whatever happens, why are you only worried about your future house price value? In which case, are you treating your house as an investment rather than as a home? Because one of the big problems, which is why we are in the situation that we're in with house prices having got so high, is that too many people think that their home is also an investment vehicle. I mean, homes as an investment have done very, very well for a very long time, but I think that party's over now. Rob asks, how does remortgaging work? Talk to a mortgage broker. Talk to my guys. They can answer that. Not me. I'm not a mortgage. I do not give mortgage. I know how remortgaging works, but that's not my area. I won't be giving advice on remortgaging. So ask the guys. Ask the people you already work with, or otherwise try my guys out. They're great at remortgages. I saw lots of questions. Dominic McCadden says, maybe you need to make a quick fire FAQ video to send new people to. That's not a bad idea, actually. I have been thinking about doing that. I do have, most of my questions have been asked in previous videos. I don't know how many 100 videos I've got on this channel, but if you wanted to go through them, you will find answers to most questions. How do I renegotiate? How much do I pay? When should I sell? How do I choose my agent? When should I buy? I have answered all these questions in videos in the past. So for new followers, please go to the Moving Home with Charlie YouTube channel homepage and just check out. I've got playlists. So there are playlists for buyers, playlists for sellers, playlists of market commentary. Okay, Abs Sir. So Abs asks, thoughts about property flip, worth investing in one now. So for any new followers who are investors, I'm not here for investors, right? I don't talk about house prices from an investment point of view. I talk about house prices from a home buying point of view. So I don't give investment advice, and I don't share my insights. All investors are welcome. You're welcome to watch the channel, but for all investors who are new to the channel, I'm here to help people who want to live in a home find a home. Okay, I'm not about flipping property. I'm not about maximizing your yield. There are countless other channels out there for you if you want that. Okay, but you're still welcome to be here and see my views on the market, of course. Looking for another question here. Kyle says, we are renting, but property and landlord has had an offer accepted. We're ready to buy. Is there a world in which we would be able to buy before we have to vacate? Well, yeah. I mean, potentially, you're going to talk to agents, and if you're, it's all down to your funding. There'll be some. If you find a property for sale that doesn't have an onward chain, then you might be able to. But that sounds like it's tight for you, guys. I'm going to wrap it up soon. Thank you, Nick. Correct. Moving home with Charlie. That is the clue. That's the clue of the content of the channel. Neil says that's the worst thing about following Charlie. All the buy-to-let millionaire videos that come on the ads. Yeah, and Purple Bricks. I've got to find out. I think there's a way in which I can actually stop that sort of thing happening. If I could control which ads came on my videos, I would. If anyone knows if that's doable, or let me know how to point me to do that, I would do that, because yeah, that's frustrating. Actual vendor. So if you just joined and missed the beginning of the video, you can rewind it and watch the beginning. I'm not going to repeat anything. So guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I will wrap it up by recapping the purpose of the video, which is to for those of you who are worried about missing the market, a recap is I think price falls have only just begun. They're going to get much steeper. I think last week's land registry prices for January actually reflected deals that were agreed last August. I don't think land registry prices have yet shown what's happened since the mini budget. I don't think we'll know that until May. I think because, and if you go look at that video I did, just the last video I published, I think on Saturday, about how to work out what house prices are doing without using the news. That will inform your view. Oh, guys, I don't know how much more I can do to help anyone who wants to know what's happening. All of my videos are here to help you figure it out for yourself, what's happening. And I keep on doing more and more and more. And I will keep doing it. I'll keep on doing it as long as you guys keep wanting me to do it. But yeah, let me wrap this up by saying, if you're not sure whether to buy or not buy, ask yourself the question, which would be the biggest mistake? Buying and wishing we hadn't, or not buying and wishing you had? On that happy note, guys, I'm going to call it. It's Sunday night, and I need to go. Okay, last question. JW says, what's my opinion on the media reporting prices shooting up early? Well, what's their source? What do you mean? I mean, prices. What prices? Are they asking prices? Because asking prices do not equal house prices, and no one's reporting actual prices shooting up that I'm aware of. If you have access to that somewhere, then point me in the right direction. I'd love to see it. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nolene. Thank you, RJ, Rob. Thank you, Cerberus, the Defender, and TC. Regina, thanks, guys. I'll see you on the next one. And don't forget, if you want to come and join the private live buyers Q&A, you can join that at buymeacoffee.com/MHWC. I'll put a link to that under the video right now when I finish recording. And I'm also, don't forget, guys, if you want to listen to this on audio, it's an audio podcast. Just search Moving Home with Charlie on podcast and you'll find it. Thank you, guys. Have a great night. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.